the chairperson of the Electoral Commission, Madam Charlotte Osei, has been talking to Kwesi Pratt on TV3's Hot Issues program, and she has been outlining the Commission's program ahead of 2016, November 7.
But do you have the powers to take names off the register?
No. And we don't have the powers to also compel people to come compulsorily to a registration, an exhibition exercise. And
are you thinking about acquiring the power which enables you to take names off the register? Would that be useful?
There are some names that the Electoral Commission can take off the register if we have evidence that somebody has passed on. So with supporting documentation, names of deceased persons, the EC can take off the register. If you are guilty of multiple registration and it is established, we sit with political parties, there's an adjudication process. You're basically quarantined and you can't be on the register for 5 years. So that is a process we do with the political parties. With the other ineligibles on the register, minors, foreigners, there's a process you go through, which is either the objection or the challenge process. Then you appear before the District Registration Review Committee. So you go before a district magistrate, and the magistrate listens to both sides, the one lodging the challenge and the person whose registration has been challenged, and then makes a determination based on the evidence that is adduced and writes an order to the EC, as in this person is fit to be on the register, is qualified, or this person is not qualified to be on the register, so we act on that. We've never been able to sit on our own and just remove names. And we've discussed it at the Commission. It's difficult for us to envisage ourselves doing that. We don't believe it's a transparent enough process. We think it may actually give us more problems, because as soon as you finish, then people are going to make allegations, as in EC remove names of qualified people. This party will say we remove more names in their stronghold. So that's generally not the way we have worked on the register. We've always worked with political parties, and would like to maintain that level of inclusiveness and transparency.
Why is there so much fixation with dead people? There's a biometric, process. Dead people can't vote. Why are we paying so much attention to dead people?
I think the political parties will be better placed to explain that. From our point of view, yes, we have a biometric register, but more importantly, we have the verification devices. If you do not put your finger on the device, you cannot vote, except for the small window we're talking about. And even that, when you get there, you must be on the register, and they would still scan the barcode. Your details will pop up. So if it's only when the machine rejects you falsely, and it's only a 1% which we're looking at, that you may be able to use a manual verification, assuming we work through that process. So for us at the Commission, having deceased persons on the register, yes, it gives you a bloated figure of the register, but it does not impact the outcome of the elections because they cannot vote. It's possible that the political parties think otherwise, and they would have to educate us on how that happens. On election day, my commissioners, my staff, myself, we are not at the polling stations. It's the election officials that we recruit who are at the polling stations with the party and the candidates' agents. So they know a bit more what happens. Ours is to create a level playing field, put a transparent process in place, put rules and guidelines for election officials to follow. And to the best of our knowledge and belief, dead people cannot vote, and so they have no impact on the outcome of the elections. But we stand to be educated.
How confident are you that this register can be cleaned, at least to your own satisfaction?
Oh, we're very confident. We have outlined detailed processes at IPAC for dealing with removing the names of deceased persons from the register, dealing with minors, dealing with foreigners, and dealing with multiple registrations. Some of it is an enhancement of the existing procedures. There was general agreement at IPAC that that was the way to go. And the parties understand and accept that it's a process that all of us have to be involved in. It's not something that the EC can sit by itself and say we're creating a credible register. So it's work that we do with the political parties, and there's general agreement. However, there's the big matter of the Supreme Court case, and so we all have to await the outcome of that case and see the kinds of directions that the Supreme Court gives us. But so far as we have agreed with them and everybody's comfortable that that process would lead to a cleaner and a more credible register, we're pretty confident.
Which of the recommendations of the committee of experts are you accepting, and which of them are you not accepting?
You mean the panel headed by Justice Crabb?
Yeah, VCRAC Crabb, yeah.
If you look at the recommendations, I think they start from page 66 or so and go up to about page 77. There are about 16 or 17 of them. We are following it almost to the letter. The election calendar is 3 main activities: the update of the register through the registration, then the exhibition, then the final elections. A lot of the recommendations are around the exhibition period, and that was the basis for the mechanisms that the proposals that we took to IPAC, and for which most of on the day of the meeting, all the parties agreed. Subsequent to that is a different matter, but there was agreement by all the parties as to the substance of those mechanisms that we proposed. And it's based largely on the recommendations made by Justice Crabb. So we're implementing all.
How do you make decisions in the Electoral Commission? This question is important because for everything that is done, you are the one who is mentioned. I mean, well, do you decide everything?
Do I decide anything?
How do you make decisions?
I barely decide anything. And we have, under the law, we're supposed to have a commission meeting at least once every 2 months. We tend to meet at least every month or more. For every decision we take, at the strategic level, at the policy level, it is a decision taken by the commission. In most instances, it's by consensus. We've had 1 or 2 occasions where we couldn't quite agree. We put it to the vote, but it wasn't even over major issues. It's on smaller issues. But there's usually consensus. We go through the issues. And the guiding principles are very clear. And we try to use that in taking decisions. Is this legal, as in are the actions supported by law? Is it what we think is fair to all parties concerned? If it's a process, is it transparent? Is it inclusive? Have we engaged? So we go through all that, and we generally come to consensus on almost all the issues. In fact, I can't remember any major issue where we've had disagreement.
If you had to put an issue to vote, when would the decision be made?
What do you mean by when?
At what point would you come to the conclusion that the decision has been made? When 4 of the 7 agree?
Yes.
When 5 of the 7 agree? 4?
Yeah. 4 will be majority. It's rarely come to that, but we have all agreed ourselves that once majority takes a decision, we'll all abide by it.
So the chair of the commission could be in the minority?
Oh, it's happened, yes.
The chair of the commission could be on a side that loses in a vote? Yes,
and it's happened.
It's happened before?
Yes.
Details?
No. Not fair to my commission members. But there are some proposals I've even taken to the commission and they're like, no. And I defer to their guidance. All of them have been there longer than I have. And it's a commission of people with different skills and backgrounds and experience. And so you'll find that some people are stronger when it comes to certain issues. Also, if it concerns a particular region, because you have commission members who have oversight over certain regions, they tend to have more knowledge, for instance, of the staff in that region. So if we're going through the organizational structure and we're saying, should we move this person here? Somebody may tell you, no, this person, I've worked with them, I think they're better suited here. It may not be what I want, but we'll defer to the knowledge of the person who has worked longest in that region.
How has the constant reference to you, sometimes as being biased and so on, affected your work?
It has not. The commission members have more experience than I have in this, and I think the commission is used to being accusations of bias all the time from one side or the other. When we go to take a decision, we just do what we believe is right, what we believe is fair, if you focus on the attacks and the criticisms, then you won't do a decent job. We all took an oath. We take the oath seriously. We take the mandate of the commission very seriously. We take our duty to the people of Ghana beyond political parties very, very seriously. And we usually keep an eye on what is the implications of the decisions that we take. Because we must make sure that you take decisions based on the principle. And these are decisions you can justify at every time, that they are fair and that they are legal. And so we just go about the work and do what we know best to do.
This issue of validation, what is it? So much, noise about validation and whether it will happen or not happen. What is it?
I would have liked some clarity myself on. But when we discussed this at IPAC, to validate means to verify, to confirm information. So if you go to an exhibition center and you go through your details and you confirm them, that's validation. There is no scientific definition of what validation means in elections. It's not an electoral term. So it's not a term of art in elections. I can only base the definition of what some parties want based on the processes before courts. And to the best of our knowledge, it is that the EC should compel all voters to come to an exhibition center. You check your details, you put your finger on the BVD. It confirms that at least you are alive and that you are who you say you are. And if you do not put yourself through that process, then the Electoral Commission should strike your name off the register. That is the definition of validation as per the court processes that we're going through now. So that's all I can say about what people mean by validation.
So, will it be done, or we have to wait for the court?
We're waiting for the outcome of the Supreme Court process.
Okay, beyond validation, there has been the issue of foreigners on the register.
Yes.
How true is that?
Unfortunately, we do not have any equipment that when you put your finger, it says this is a Malian finger or a Burkinabe finger. And citizenship is a matter of law. And so we have to resort to law. And so if you allege that someone is a foreigner, we believe at the EC that due process has to be followed. And it has nothing to do with the Electoral Commission. So you lodge your objection or your challenge. The person is brought before the District Registration Review Committee, which has political parties and the district magistrate. You adduce your evidence. The person has a right to be heard and to also say, oh no, this is my grandfather's house, or this is how I acquired my citizenship. I may be married to a Ghanaian, I may have been adopted by a Ghanaian, whatever. And based on that, the magistrate would make a determination. It is only when the magistrate makes a determination and says, we do not believe that this person is qualified to be on the register, or we believe this person is qualified to be on the register, that the Electoral Commission can act on that order. So again, it comes back to the exhibition process and to all of us getting involved in that exhibition process and working with the Electoral Commission to create a register that only has qualified people. I remember when Professor Jega came, we asked him, how did you audit your register? One of the things he said was visual audit. And at the commission meeting, we're like, what's a visual audit? And he said, oh, when it came to the minors, we looked at the names and the faces. We were like, no, this one looks like a minor out. This one looks like a minor out. Well, maybe the laws permit him to do it. We told him that, well, that's not how we do it here. We go through a process. So every country has its own processes. And so it's the same thing with the minors. You have to go through the process of objection or challenge. The person has a right to be heard, to bring evidence, bring their parents, bring school documentation, anything that supports that age. And then a determination is made by a party other than the EC, and the EC acts on that determination. So there are processes for all the people who are not qualified to be on the register. There are processes for objecting, processes for challenging, and we have to go through with those processes. And that's where we really appeal to the public to support the work of the EC.